I don't know what's in here, but it's going to be something good. We are here pre-gaming. Serena Morales, Kevin Klein. Welcome to another pre-gaming.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I don't know about you. I'm enjoying the lard for my honey baked ham. I'm just drinking liquid lard today. A little lard and vodka to get things going. If you're eggnogging it up, good morning. Throw a little Kahlua in that coffee, a little whiskey. As far as we're concerned, it's that time. It's that wonderful time of the year where no one seems to know what day it is. No one knows what time it is. It doesn't matter because there's football on every day. Doubleheader last night, double head scratcher last night, perhaps, depending on where your bets went. If you paid attention, I was all over that tease, the little Green Bay Indianapolis tease. I hope you're with me on that one. But today, it's all about the cuppers and the cappers as we hang out, talk about the games, break it down, give you some exclusive props, and as always, answer your questions in the comments below. We'll get to those with our regular cast of characters and typical convicts, I was going to say. Regular cast of characters and convicts around here, right?
If you want to win an NFL jersey of your choice, whether you've been convicted or not, guess how many total yards will Zeke have on Sunday Night Football? Make sure you like us, subscribe to the Game Day on YouTube, and then leave your comment below. The closest answer will be chosen after the game. Every morning, we're somewhere, but on Sunday specifically at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're right here giving you the best gambling picks with experts who actually know how to gamble and the two of us who think we know what we're doing.
I couldn't wait to make fun of whichever person got on the show today wearing the new shirt they opened for Christmas yesterday. And then I realized after looking at ourselves on the screen that I'm the a-hole that's wearing the shirt I got yesterday. And I look like one of the soldiers from Time Cop or something like that. It's a very strange. This should have gone right in the return pile. I don't know why. I didn't realize. I didn't even look in a mirror. I threw it on, got ready to do this show today. Started looking at the lines, looking at who's on the COVID list, etc. And next thing I know, I'm looking at us now on the screen going, that is a terrible sweater. That should be donated immediately. So get ready, Toys for Tots. This is coming to you after the show today.
Please tell me your wife bought you that. It's a nice sweater. You look like you put yourself together.
I don't want to blame publicly who got me this thing, but I clearly this is one of those looks, like a lot of them in my house, that looked fantastic on the mannequin, and then in real life they just look terrible on the man. Like on the mannequin a 10, on the man a 3. So that's where we're at today. I'm your resident degenerate, of course, but obviously based on my look today, I'm from the future, so you should trust me when I tell you what games I like. We've got 2 minutes to break down our thoughts right now going into, what are we in, week 16 right now of NFL action? I can't keep track anymore. Yeah. I've lost complete control.
Fancy. You don't know how to put clothes on. Let's use 2 minutes to actually talk about things that are important. Kevin, what do you got?
Look, it's all about the North Pole up until yesterday, but today it's about my favorite destination, and that is Upset City. Oh, yes, so many possible upsets to look at. If you're looking at lines that are intriguing today, teams like the Bills that are underdogs 2.5, battling, of course, the Patriots, the rematch from a game that only happened a few weeks ago. You got Baltimore, a 7-point underdog. You look about like the Vikings, a game against the Rams. I know we'll be breaking that down a little bit later. Thoughts about the over-under in that one, but Vikings a 3.5-point dog against the Rams. I think today there will be upsets that happen. It's going to be clear that it does happen. We all witnessed last night the Browns almost beat the Packers. Like today is going to be a day of upsets. The question is, what will be the right upsets to put your money into? Which ones are the odds in your favor as you think about all of the possible upsets that will happen today? And then I didn't even talk about a lot of these double-digit spreads, Serena, but you got plenty of games. I think it's the Kansas City game, which I'll break down. 10.5-point favorite over the Steelers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look at, so there will be upsets. Which ones should you be betting on? We'll get into that a little bit later on the show today.
Kevin's just upset with his sweater. Let's be real. All right, if the Dolphins win their game against...
I'm upset. I'm Upset City right now, okay? Welcome, Upset City, population 1.
I just want to say respect is something that you need to earn, unlike Kevin here. The Dolphins, if they win their game against the Saints, they will be the first team to win 7 straight games following a 7-game losing streak. There is no respect to the Dolphins. Let's face it, Miami, you're already in Tampa Bay by now. If they win, though, and they play a good defense, Tua, I think you're going to get more respect from me. It's been really hard to believe in this team outside of the Ravens win. I find their season to be a shoulder shrug, much like that sweater you're wearing. So I just want people to be acknowledging that this is actually a really key game for us to watch. The Saints are at their fourth quarterback now. Let's see how this game goes.
It's an interesting point, Serena, but think about this. The Dolphins, like actual dolphins, very slippery this season, but also one false move away from being tuna fish. So be prepared. Anything can happen. And yes, I know some in South Florida are starting to believe that Tom Brady is not the only quarterback of a team that matters, but we'll get into all of that, of course. It's time for some rapid-fire questions. As Serena said, if you can predict how many yards Zeke will have in the big game, of course, Cowboys battling the Washington football team. Let us know your thoughts on that, and you could get yourself a free jersey or a trip to New Jersey. The choice is yours.
You think anyone would ever pick a trip to New Jersey?
No, that's why I said that. You can't even. It's not even a possibility, but I know no one's going to take it. So.
All right, Tyler Huntley now on the COVID-19 list. This is just ridiculous. How long until the Ravens just call up Trent Dilfer? I believe he's still available. He's wearing a suit more. Probably needs to do some crunches, but.
You know, a few years ago, you look at this COVID-19 watch list. It's like the who's who of where you want to be. It's like the hottest list of any club in town. Like, am I on the list? Like, who's on the list here? Let's see here. It's all right. You got the Ravens first quarter up. Ravens check. Yeah, it's tough. They're in a bind. They're in a spot. There was a team up until the latest news about the Ravens. I love them. They were +7. That line may have actually moved already again. I know that I was talking to Kenny Betts Big a little bit off screen because we'd rather talk to each other than our relatives during Christmas. And we really thought that like the Ravens were going to be a great play. And now it seems like up until that coin is flipped, you don't even know who's going to end up on that list or not. So Dilfer, I mean, you think about they may be bringing back old Ravens from back in the day. Who knows? I mean, it's gotten out of control there. They're in a bad situation, Serena. So I understand why people are jumping ship on that gamble. A lot of the public money has moved in the last hour or two.
Their defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, love that name, by the way. He said, I don't know if we're playing football or Squid Games. They don't have any, like literally their defense only has 15 players on the 53-man roster. 2 of them are injured. They have 9 defensive players on the COVID reserve. So not just their offense is depleted, but this whole team, which is why.
Yeah, my regular fantasy team, I'm in like terrible place in my fantasy league, but my COVID fantasy team is doing great. I am on fire right now. My COVID-19 team is going to win everything. I drafted all the right players for that one.
With 3 games left, Cooper Kupp needs 339 yards to break Megatron's single-season receiving yards record. Kevin, I don't know if he breaks it or not. We'd like to think that we're both in Los Angeles. We've seen this man in action. But really, the question for me is, will it count if he does it in 17 games versus 16?
You know, I thought this was going to be the year of the Red Cup here on the show, but it turns out it's the year of the Blue Cup. Cooper Kupp is on fire. We talked about weeks ago, I think it was Evan maybe of this show. We said, put a bet on Cooper Kupp as an anytime touchdown scorer every single week. Do that and you will make money. And I believe since we've said it, he's had a touchdown at least every single week. Cooper Kupp is having a tremendous season. You know, everyone was afraid what would happen with, you throw Odell Beckham Jr. on the team. That's just made Cooper Kupp even better right now. So, yes, he will break the record. Does it matter that we have an extra week for the record to be broken? No, because everything is going to be a record with an asterisk next to it. Everything is going to have asterisks. Get ready. Seasons are going to change. I mean, some would argue this isn't even a real NFL season anyway because of all the COVID protocols. So, technically, every record you could argue is up in the air. Doesn't matter. But, look, Favre's record just got broken yesterday. That was an exciting moment. Although we should point out Favre still has the most successfully delivered D picks of any NFL quarterback that we know of. So that's a big moment for Favre. Big moment.
The Patriots-Bills rematch. Woo! How many pass attempts will Mac Jones have today? Because last time, this man just had 3 in a whole game. Look at that. McCorkle.
It's weird because when you hear your friends, and I'm sure Kenny will be on loudly talking about why the Patriots are the greatest team in all of football, because all of the Patriots fans have a way of convincing themselves and everyone within 300 yards of their voice why the Patriots are awesome always, no matter what. So it's tough because everyone wanted you to believe that this guy, Brady, it was almost like yeah, we love Brady, but Brady who? We've moved on. We've got our next superstar. And then what happened, right? It was a very questionable, that's weird. So will there be, will it be a bounce back week or not? I know that there's a lot of Bills fans, and I've seen a lot. I got to talk to Danny and Kenny about this, but I think a lot of the sharp money has moved from New England to Buffalo. I want to get that confirmed on the show a little bit. But a lot of it comes down to, is this a guy that we can count on for anything offensively today, or will it be like last week? Who knows?
I don't believe Ramondre Stevens will play either, so their run game will be changing quite a bit. If you don't throw the ball, you probably need someone to run the ball. So with that said, Kevin, who is the Grinch of the NFL?
Well,
besides that man right there.
This is going to be a not popular call, but the Grinch of the NFL this season are the referees. I have seen more blown calls, bad calls, terrible flags thrown, terrible unsportsmanlike conduct calls. I get it. It's all about protecting these multi-million-dollar players. But when you've got money on listen, I know a multi-million-dollar player is technically worth more than my $300 parlay. But the reality is this. So many of these calls that are being made on the field are determining the outcome of the games, and more importantly, determining the outcome of the spreads. So the refs have got to get it together, use some effing technology, microchip that ball. Let's figure this out, because too often these calls are being made, and I understand why when people think the NFL is rigged and why there seems to be like CPU assistance in real life on football. It's because of the refereeing that's been going on. We need to put an end to it immediately. You bring back good old-fashioned Ed Hockley and his steroids, and you let him go ahead and control the situation. It's gotten out of control. It's unfair. It's unfair to the players, unfair to the teams. It's unfair to us, the fans, and the gamblers. Come on, we want the games called in a way. A bad call has never helped me make money. A bad call has lost me money countless times.
Yeah. There was a bad call in that Browns game against the Packers, that misholding call, but that wasn't what I was watching for, nor the refs. The refs weren't paying attention to that holding call either. But most people were paying attention to this, the Browns logo on TV. Is it a Browns logo, or is it an old rabbit with a walker? Do you see it?
I saw that one as well. I think that the old rabbit with a walker is probably the more appropriate logo to go with at this point. Thank you, by the way, Saratsa, whoever's watching on the YouTube right now, commenting. Hi, Klein. Hello, right back at you. Happy holidays. We appreciate the comments. Of course, you can let us know how you think. You can give us questions in the rapid fire. We'll get to those at the end of the show. And you can always predict how many yards Zeke will have in tonight's game for your chance to win an NFL jersey of your choosing.
That's right. Not going to New Jersey today, but we are here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, giving you the picks with the best gambling experts who actually gamble and give you good betting advice. And for everyone, thank you for joining us. Happy holidays for another pre-gaming. Send in your questions for today's game. We'll get to those in a bit. We'll also head over to thegameday.com and get some good gambling analysis. It doesn't have to come from us, too. It can come from others who happen to be on that website, and your best sports book specials. With that said, let's bring in our friends, the father of Thor, Kenny Bets Big, and the Puerto Rican Dominican who is neither, Danny Brasco. Welcome once again. Happy holidays. He's back with that picture in the background.
There he is.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Good to see you guys.
How was your guys' holiday? Everyone had a good time? Santa was good to everyone?
Enough with the chit-chat. I spent most of my day waiting for my Venmo to come through. I was thinking, well, today Kenny's probably going to send me a little something. I mean, we've become friendly this year. This guy's rolling in it. Every time I heard a beep or a car horn, I check my Venmo. I go, oh, this must be Kenny sending me a nice little, here's a little dime for the holidays, my friend. But no, alas, nothing. Zero. That's the Grinch. I changed my pick from the refs to Kenny.
I must have sent it to the wrong Kevin Klein, because I sent something, but it must not have been to you.
Oh.
Ever since that glitter bomb, I don't open any mail anymore.
Not working.
Glitter bombs. That's what we should be sending. We'll have to get to our... Anyone have a suggestion on how we can punish each other even better than last week? Please send in those as well. We'll get to those later on in the show. Either way, let's get started. Kenny, it is so good to see you. And you have, what a surprise, you're going with the Patriots against Josh Allen and the Bills? No
I know,
way.
right?
You're crazy.
Yeah, who saw that coming? Yeah. So listen, there may be a little bias to this because I am a huge Patriots fan, but put the fandom to the side. I still think I've been saying it all year. This is the Patriots division. I think the very first show that all the four of us did together was week 1, and I said the Bills are overrated. Josh Allen is super overrated, and the Patriots are going to win this division this year. Well, here we are, week 16, Bills at the Patriots, and the division pretty much comes down to this game. So, yeah, I love the Patriots here today. Bill Belichick is out for blood. You know, he won the division 10 years in a row. The Bills stole one from us last year. And I just think that Bill Belichick, we saw 2 weeks ago, he had the perfect game plan cooked up to beat the Bills team. And I think we're going to see a lot of the same this time around.
Kenny, it would be so predictable for you to say everything you just said. So I know you can't possibly feel that in your gut, right? There must be some part of you that understands why the money, and I don't think I'm wrong about this. Aren't some of the sharp bets on Buffalo right now for this game? Isn't that where like a lot of the sharp money is moved?
I mean, it's hard to say. Everywhere I'm looking, so like the sources that I use, I'm seeing more wagers are being placed on the Bills, and there's a lot more money on the Bills too. You know, the line has dropped. I think the Patriots were 2.5 point favorites at one point earlier this week. Now they're 1 point favorites. I'm sure some of the injury reports have something to, reflect that line movement. But yeah, I just can't. It seems a little bit of a trap, like the Patriots -1 today. But, Bill Belichick, best coach in NFL history. This feels like a playoff game. And who would you want coaching your team in the playoffs more than Bill Belichick? Nobody. We've seen it for almost, a decade plus now. Bill Belichick in the playoffs, in the big games when people count him out, he just gets it done. So I think 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were saying the Bills were going to win that game, and the Patriots came out and ran the ball right down the Bills' throat. The Bills' rush defense, not very good. So I don't see what's going to change from 2 weeks ago to this week, other than the weather. Like the Patriots don't have the 20, 25 mile per hour wind gusts to help them, but it's still supposed to be a little windy out in Foxborough today. Yeah.
Bill Belichick is the least likely human to be distracted by Christmas. So that's really where this line has been maybe more accurate than ever.
That guy shits cold.
Last week, Kevin discovered that Bill Belichick's the only person who doesn't like music. So that should help him focus. Yeah. But, Kevin, your question about the gambling action, like Kenny said, it's pretty hard to get a read on the market. Like a lot of the time, the players on the field don't end up mattering. You're kind of just reading the market. It's like trying to pick a stock, right? But in this instance, I saw sharp bets come in on the Patriots. I saw big money bets come in on the Bills. It's kind of all over the place. So this one's sort of like you got to get a read on the game and handicap the actual game. It's hard to argue against Bill Belichick. It's a tough game to bet on, but I'll be rooting with you, Kenny. I've got a ticket from the beginning of the season, Patriots to win the AFC East at +350. People called us crazy, Kenny, and here we are.
Let's go. Get it, baby. It's our division, and it always will be our division. And you know what? Let me say this. If the Patriots win that game last week versus the Colts, they're easily probably a 3 to 4 point favorite this week. It's just a huge overreaction to last week. We saw the Patriots lose to a Colts team, a very good Colts team, mind you, that just beat the Arizona Cardinals. So I think it's a lot of overreaction from last week. And I think a lot of people are probably forgetting how, the Patriots dominated the Bills a couple weeks ago.
All right. Well, Kenny, your next game on the slate, you had the Ravens, but with all of that going on with their COVID and no quarterbacks, you're now going against my pick, which we'll get to in a bit. Rams at Vikings, you're taking the over.
Yes. I don't know what you're thinking taking the under in this game, Serena. These are two of the NFL's premier offenses. The Rams, since they've gotten Odell Beckham, look unstoppable. Cooper Kupp, I heard you guys talking about it at the top of the show, is running all over every defense, no matter what type of scheme they throw at the guy. I feel like he has 10 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown in almost every game. So, the total seems kind of like a gift here, 48.5. The Rams have played 7 road games. They've in those 7 road games, they've scored a combined 49 points in 5 of them, right? Since 2019, the total is 28-1 to the over when the Vikings play in 1 p.m. slots. You have a West Coast team traveling out east in a 1 p.m. start. So usually you can get the defense still a little sleepy, wiping the crusties out of their eyes. Maybe the Vikings get a few cheap touchdowns early. But I can't see any way that there are not points scored in this game. The Vikings' pass defense is terrible. I think Matt Stafford should be able to throw the ball all over the field today.
We'll get to mine. We'll get to mine.
A battle. Good luck, Serena, topping that argument. Points all over the place. To get that under 50, the only thing that seems very suspicious. That's the only thing. You look at that, you go, that's got to be an over-under that's got to be sitting in the low to mid-50s easily. That 48 and a half just really freaks me the F out. That's the only reason I can't wait to hear Serena's take on it. What are we going to with you there, Danny Brasco? What's the next game on the old slate?
So what am I firing off first? Am I going Falcons-Lions? Yes, we are. So
Falcons,
I actually got this at -6 or 6.5. So if you have it at 7 now, maybe get it down just under 7. But look, it feels weird laying points with the Falcons. Like, why would the Falcons ever deserve to lay a touchdown here? But it's the Lions with Tiny Tim Boyle starting. God bless us, everyone. We have to fade Tim Boyle. Oh my goodness, he's bad. Jared Goff out with COVID. So look, I have my handy dandy stats here, and I just had to read them to you so you know I'm not lying. Okay, he last started in week 11 in a 13-10 loss that Kevin actually had the Lions with him starting, and they covered that game somehow on the back of some good defense. But he went 15 of 23 for 77 yards. 15 passes, completions for 7. That's 3.3 yards on average per completion. Who are you throwing to? 2 interceptions and a QB rating of 34.1. That is atrocious. TJ Hawkinson, their best offensive weapon in terms of receiving, is out. Cephas, another good receiver, is out. On the defensive side, they've got 2 corners that are out amongst a ton of other people. They're 0-6-1 on the road. And so, okay, enough bad things about the Lions. We know this, right? It's not rocket science. But the Falcons themselves, they're really just kind of stay in games. They're 6-8 this year. They're in the hunt still. And they actually beat and cover against bad teams. They have a win and cover against the Jets, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, and the Panthers this year. So I think that it's not like they go down and play to their level of competition. They're actually a little bit better than the awful teams. I'm looking for the Falcons to win by more than a touchdown here. And it's scary, but I'm actually going to lay the spread here. So let's go Falcons -6.5.
Oh, wow. All right.
Too much confidence.
Kevin, you hanging on there? He's taking all his notes.
Look, you know me. I like all the shitty games in all the NFL. I'm probably no shittier game than the Jags-Jets later today. But like, you know, it's funny when you have to break down the numbers of a real who cares game. But Detroit's a team on the come up, so I'll have to think about that. It's difficult when I come into this show with my mind made up and my betting slip up here filled out, and then have to actually listen to you guys spout out your numbers and your reasoning, and then all of a sudden everything up here just goes like this, bleep, 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 and I got to figure it out again.
Did you say Detroit is a team on the come up?
That's right. Look at the last few weeks, dude. Look at the last few weeks.
What's
your
definition of up? Yeah, I think our definition of up and down are different.
They were a winless
Dan
team
Campbell
until a month ago, and now they've got 2 wins, so that's a team on the come up, dog.
Tiny Tim Boyle, remember that name.
Tiny Tim Boyle. Danny, you also are going with the Broncos Raiders. You're taking the under for Captain Underpants, assuming Drew Lock. He's going to get his first start in 2021.
So, yeah, once more, we got to fade bad quarterbacks. That's the theme of my picks today. And like you said, Teddy Bridgewater is still clearing concussion protocols, dealing with that issue. So it's Drew Lock. And here's some more statistics from a shitty quarterback. Drew Lock, 3 appearances this year, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 1 touchdown pass. He has as many tackles as he does touchdown passes, trying to stop pick sixes. 8, so right away, I'm looking at Drew Lock to have a poor game against, Raiders defense. It's certainly not great, but weirdly enough, 8 of the last 10 matchups between these teams have played to the under. The Broncos are one of the best under teams in the NFL, 11-3 to the under. So they're constantly in these pillow fights. And speaking of pillow fights, The Raiders have scored 16 or less in 6 of their last 7 games. So since their whole organization's been in disarray, Ruggs, Waller, all these guys that have been out on offense, they just haven't been able to put up points. And the Broncos really, both these teams are still in the hunt, weirdly. They hang their hat on their defense, and they're going to need to do that, especially with the run game with Drew Lock starting. So I know a low total of 42, but like I always tell you guys with these low totals, odds makers don't set them there for no reason. So I'm going to go with the under here in a game that I expect to just be another gross grind out.
I did go with Danny on an under he had a few weeks ago, and I forget which game it was. It may have been a Vikings game. I don't know. Maybe all I know is the game was all but over by halftime. I mean, it was like 7 points away from being over before they even hit the half, and then somehow no points were scored for the rest of the game. And I thought I was done. I told Danny, my kid's Christmas depends on this bet. If this is what you're confident on, I'm going to put a bunch on the under if you feel that way. And I don't bet unders. And he said, trust me. And when I saw it at halftime, I said, I'm done here. That's it. I told my kids, that's it. We're getting jobs, all of you. And they're currently making iPhones in China, my kids. But then Danny said, he called me after the game. He's like, dude, we sweated it out, but we hit it. I go, what are you talking about? No points in the fourth quarter, 3 points in the third quarter. It was remarkable. A greatest under in the history of the NFL.
Do you guys see how jacked up Kevin is about this under? Someone tell me the unders aren't thrilling. They're amazing. We sweated it out. The game died in the second half. It was last week. It was the Falcons and Niners. 3 4th-and-goal stops for the Niners to stop the Falcons and maintain the under. Just electric. Unders aren't electric? Y'all are crazy.
Woo! Yeah, the no scoring points.
Woo!
I'm also like, a masochist. So that's probably, I'm sick of it.
Kevin, go ahead. Go talk about your game and get us excited since we're so excited about unders.
Listen, no one has talked more shit about Big Ben Roethlisberger on this show than I. I mean, I'm convinced that the guy is at this point, he's just kind of going through the motions. He's got senioritis, not because he's graduating his football career soon, but because he's actually a senior citizen at this point. However, I believe that today the Steelers at a 10.5-point dog against the Chiefs are looking pretty good. And that game is in Kansas City, but let's keep in mind something. Kansas City, that does do well against the spread on the road, does not do nearly as well against the spread at home. Arrowhead has been a more difficult place to play for Kansas City than on the road recently. And you think about all that you've seen from Kansas City. They haven't lost a game in 2 calendar months. They are they've found their stride. Should point out Travis Kelce out today. Will not be there. Kansas City, as I said, has won 7 games straight. They're 5-0 against the spread as favorites, but 4-10 against the spread at home. Think about that number for a second. It's weird that the home field advantage doesn't help you on the spread, but maybe that's because you're getting those additional points for being home, the home team, and then those become the ones that are the difference between someone winning their bet and losing their bet. Now, I think about what just happened in the recent week between Kansas City and San Diego, right? It was an overtime game, 34 points. A lot of points went up, but it did go to OT. And I think also about the time that Pittsburgh played San Diego recently. Similar sort of game, bit of a shootout. That was back November 21st, a 41-37 shootout. Now, going into that game, the Steelers were a 6-point dog, but obviously they covered that one because they only lost by 4. So I think about these being similar sorts of games and why I like this to be closer than the 10.5 points that are sitting right there. Something else to think about when I think about KC, I think that in this particular week, K stands for kicker. There's no better kicker in the NFL perhaps than Boswell, a dependable kicker. I think this game could come down to it, and the Steelers have that. And the C stands for COVID because we're still watching players that are on that COVID watch list that may not be on the field by kickoff time. So think kicker, think COVID, and think Steelers to cover the 10.5-point spread in this game tonight at some point, today. I don't believe they're going to lose by, I think they'll lose the game, but they'll lose probably by 5, maybe 7. So I see.
Okay.
Also, Serena, if I may put a cherry on top of my sundae, the Steelers, please. 5-1 against the spread when playing winning teams.
There you have it.
Play up.
All right.
Play up a little bit.
I guess I'll get to my game since you guys were all waiting to just hear me talk about an under in a very what we think will be a high-scoring game. And yes, two very high-powered offenses will go against each other. No Dalvin Cook because of COVID. Adam Thielen is questionable. He's been dealing with that high ankle sprain, and he's been limited in practice all week. Kirk Cousins, their Vikings quarterback, also has a rib injury, although he is expected to play. On the Rams side, Andrew Whitworth, Matthew Stafford's blind side, was placed on the COVID-19 list. He is to be we're waiting to see if he's actually going to play, but he would have had to travel. There were a lot of talks. Oh my gosh, how exciting. Cam Akers has been activated and back on the Rams. Well, he did not travel to Minnesota to play in this game, which means Matthew Stafford, without Andrew Whitworth, will be scrambling in the pocket a bit more. We know that the Vikings defensive line is one to be worried about. Cam Akers, while he is joining the team, did not travel. I see the Rams actually running the ball a lot. Darrell Henderson definitely wants to prove himself. He should have a big game because he doesn't want Cam Akers taking his spot. And the Rams are also getting some really big key pieces back on their defense, including defensive signal caller Jordan Fuller, who will be back from the COVID-19 list. Tyler Higbee also expected to play, but I do see the Rams winning this game outright. I don't see this being a high-scoring affair. And Kevin, I believed it was you that mentioned it. Like, that 49 is just a weird number. And for me, yes, we've seen, wow, oh my gosh, all these guys can score. Cooper Kupp is having an incredible season. Justin Jefferson, an amazing wideout. But I just think that's a weird number. And I see this game being in the Rams' favor. But I feel like there's too many questions going into this game. So I'm taking the under.
Man. This is a hard game to bet on. The Vikings getting 3.5 at home, and now Kenny and Serena on opposite sides of the total. Like, I'm terrified of this game. I'm going to watch, with popcorn and ham, though.
There we go. Eat your leftovers,
it's a tough game all
guys.
around. The spread and the total is tough. Like, the lines are pretty sharp on that game.
Yeah. Either way, I will say I do agree with Kenny on another game that we picked. Let's pick up our betting slips here and show those as we get into our nightcaps before we get to the nightcaps. So, yes, I'm taking my under at 49. Let's see how this goes. I'm going against Kenny. I don't like doing that. The Patriots, I will go with you, Kenny, with that -1. Again, Bill Belichick doesn't celebrate anything unless it's a Super Bowl. So let's go with that. And then, Danny, I'm going to ride with you on another under for the Denver-Vegas game because I can't see how anybody scores points in that game. Kevin, what about you?
Well, look, I've given you my reasons why I think Pittsburgh is going to win the game against Kansas City today. I've given you some pretty good reasons and some lousy ones as always. So I like the Steelers at +10.5 in that one. A lot of points. That extra half is great. If that dropped to 10 wherever you're getting yours, I would buy the half point. Pick up the hook. Lions. I hate to do this, but it's like, as I said, I have bet with them enough this season. They've made me money. Maybe they're not making money as an organization, but I like the Lions as the dogs at +7 as well. And I have to go ahead and say, Serena, you're no friend of mine today. I'm going to kill you and F Kenny. I'm going with the over in the Rams-Vikings game at 49. I like it at 48.5 better. But that means I guess I got to marry Danny, so everyone's happy around here, huh? It's all whatever happens, happens, huh?
Oh my god!
That's Mary Kill on pre-gaming is a must.
With that said, Kevin can't miss out. It's the holidays, the day after Christmas. What is your totally exclusive prop bet for today?
Today's the day that people start returning all the stuff that they got from relatives and friends and people that don't know that they don't like wearing certain shirts, like the one I have on right now, for instance. Or these are all of the biggest returns you're going to see in the NFL today. These are your totally exclusive props you only get right here. Pre-gaming, we start with this a little bit later this morning. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 10-1 are going to be returning their number 1 draft pick. This game that you may not care about, the Jags and the Jets, there's actually a number 1 draft pick for next season kind of up for grabs. Currently, the Jags have that number 1 draft pick locked in. But if they win the game, this is what's interesting. If they win the game today and Detroit somehow wins their game today, then I believe that number 1 pick goes to the Jets. So there's actually something at stake, and you start to think about as you're gambling, are these teams that are actually trying to throw the game or not? I think the Jags, the most Jags thing that could happen to the Jags is they do win the game today and they lose their number 1 pick for next season. So that's the number 1 return that's going to be happening. The Bills fans will be returning a lot of broken tables later today. because they're 8-6 team, and according to Kenny, they're not going to win today either. They're going to realize we broke a lot of tables for nothing. It was a giant waste of time. New York Giant quarterback Mike Glennon will be returning a lot of stretched out turtlenecks, unfortunately. They just tried them on, and they just don't fit anymore. The guy's got the funniest looking neck in all of the world. And in Chicago, there's going to be a parking spot returned later today. It has the name Nagy spray painted on it, though. But other than that, it's going to be an open spot. So you can have that one if you go there. That's your totally exclusive prop bet for today. Thank you. I was drunk last night. I didn't put a lot of thought into it.
Oh, that's actually one of the best ones. You should work drunk more often. All right. Well, it's now time for our primetime punishments. If you have a recommendation on how to punish us, which is such a mean thing to say, please leave that in the comments. We're going to get to your questions. Want to get your thoughts really quick on Washington football team in Dallas today. How do we feel about this game? I'll start with you, Kenny.
I feel like it's a lot of points. Ton of points, 9.5, division game, a lot on the line. I like Washington there. Plus, I would buy it up to plus 10 though if you're going to bet that game.
Okay.
Danny's rubbing. I know the beard scratches are coming out. Even Kevin's got it going. I agree with Kenny. It's so many points for an in-division game. I am afraid the Cowboys are going to roll them, but Heineke's back. If it was Gilbert Gabbert, which is not even a real name, it's like a cartoon, it's like a kids show name, then I would bet against them and say the Cowboys just roll them, and I'll play whatever spread. But in division with Heineke, I'll take the points, I guess. I might regret it. Let's go Washington.
No, I hear you. Kevin, I mean, you're a Washington football team fan, which sounds so weird to say, but Taylor Heineke's back. I also feel like this Washington football team has had so many injuries and yet has rose to the occasion. And that last game that the Cowboys played against Washington, actually, the team came back. Washington came back and actually almost won that game. So how do you feel, Kevin?
I like this as Washington on the money line to not only cover, but to win the game in a big
Look
upset.
At that great
but
sweater talking.
Win some money, huh? Win some money. That's why I got this little pocket right here.
Getting a little deja vu. Wasn't it last week, Kevin? You liked the Giants plus 9.5 versus the Eagles, right? That was last week.
I don't remember what happened last week, Kenny.
Cowboys.
Yeah. Can't remember what happened last week.
Who knows what I said then? That was that was all the way back in 2021. We're in 2022, baby. It's all different now. Okay, everything's different.
Kevin blacked out.
All right. So we all this is a lock. Washington covers against the Cowboys, which is pretty exciting. And then our Monday Night Football game, Dolphins in New Orleans. This to me is a big game. I mean, they're both 7-7. The over/under is 37.5. What in the world? No one's scoring in this game.
Imagine me taking the under in that game. Nah, I can't do it. It's the fewest points I've ever. It's the lowest number I've ever heard. Man, I think Ian Book out of Notre Dame starting this game, and then the Saints also signed Blake Bortles in case they need to back him up. A lot of low-key cult following out there for Blake Bortles. He's a funny guy. I think I might just bet on the Saints defense because I don't think Tua Tagovailoa is very good. So I'll take the Saints with the points.
Yeah, I love the Saints tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a great bet. The Dolphins, one of the hottest teams in the league. Saints starting a guy that, half the people betting on the game probably never even heard of. And they're only 2.5 point underdogs. So, yeah, I think the Saints are good money tomorrow.
Let's go.
I like some props in this one. I like two interception props over 1.5. There's some other ones you can get there. I think it's going to be kind of a sloppy football game more than anything else. So I like turnover props. I like defensive touchdown, special team touchdown props. I'm going to be all over that. I just think this one's going to be a bit of a slop fest, and I look forward very much to cashing in on that. I don't really care about who wins the game.
But to cover, I like the Saints too. I mean, after shutting out Tom Brady, what else do you need me to see? If you don't need whatever quarterback starts for you, just don't throw the ball away.
So I guess what? Are we all on the same side for everything? No one's getting
That's
punished.
very odd.
It's a jolly.
No,
Christmas.
I'll go Dolphins. Listen, in general, I put this above all else. Whenever I see 4 experts, quote unquote experts, even if one of them says degenerate next to their name, whenever I see 4 experts agree on anything, and this is true for any pregame show I've ever watched, any of those bullshit pregame shows you see that have been on Fox, CBS, whatever for years, Boomer or whatever. Whenever all 4 of them agree, I almost always will call my bookie and make a bet in the opposite direction. And more often than not, I win those. So remember that. Even when the 4 of us agree, which is rare, go the opposite way, you're probably going to make money. So in that being said, I like the Dolphins on this game. And I'm going to go ahead and go against what I just said a moment ago based on all of you guys and my own self. I'm going with the Cowboys over the Redskins now. Excuse me, the Washington football team. Thank you.
There you go. All right, it's 3 against 1. I love it. Okay. Again, leave your comments below on what should be Kevin's punishment when we get to these games. Let's talk about the questions that are rolling in, starting with the Buccaneers against Carolina Panthers. The under at 44.5. How do we feel about that, Captain Underpants?
You know, I was reading something that was talking about how I believe the Bucs are right now minus 10.5 favorites, and there is a correlation with double-digit favorites and the under. Oftentimes, I can't quote you exactly, but the article was talking about how oftentimes the under is a nice play when you're looking at a team that's a double-digit favorite. But 44.5 with Brady coming off, getting shut out, I'm afraid that he goes completely berserk and straight rage, anger mode scores. Even missing all these guys, Antonio Brown's back, so actually I bet I like in that game is AB to score, even though I'm not a big fan of the guy. I think he'll get in the end zone, so I like money. I wouldn't play.
He's rested.
I don't know if I can play the under here just because I'm afraid of what Brady might do.
Yeah. Put up 44 on his own.
Straight up.
Next question. Oh, Danny, here's for you. What about the under 43 in the Falcons-Lions game?
Not mad at it. I'm playing the Falcons. But yeah, I mean, based on the fact that I think Tim Boyle is going to have a long day at the office. So maybe Lions team total under, something like that. If I had to lean one way, I would lean towards the under.
I like this next question for Kenny. OBJ, anytime touchdown, plus 180. Yes.
I love that. Vikings, one of the worst DVOA against the number 2 opposing receiver on the other team. So I think the Vikings are going to try and slow down Cooper Kupp today. And I think that will open some things up for Odell Beckham, maybe catch a long pass, a deep one, and score plus 180. Ton of value there.
Yeah, love that. Kevin, this one has your name all over it. Which NFL team has lost you the most money this season?
God, it's all of them, probably. Hard to whittle it down, to be honest. I don't know. I remember there was a couple of weeks that I was either really on that Indianapolis train or really off of it, and it seemed like whichever side I decided to go, they ended up going the other direction. So it was either Indy was one of those teams that I feel like I couldn't figure it out. Kenny was telling me from the very beginning they're a good team, and for whatever reason, I don't know, I was like always a week off on my bets with them. So Indy's probably the team that's cost me the most. And then San Diego, right when I started to believe in the Chargers, they kind of fell apart for a little bit as well. Right when I was really believing in the Chargers, I remember like a few games in a row, they just were doing nothing, and it really effed me. And then all of a sudden I started going against them, and then they turned it around. So I'd say those are my 2 teams I've lost the most on this season, probably.
Chargers.
I'm interested to hear who it is for everyone. Kenny, who's your team that's just in the doghouse?
Kenny doesn't lose
Bills
bets.
cover for you?
No, I wish I didn't lose bets. It's a good question,
Vikings,
honestly.
Saints?
I feel like the Raiders have snaked me a couple times this year. I'd say probably the Raiders, honestly.
For me, it's the Seahawks. Totally screwed me on some big bets I've laid in just complete duds. Russell Wilson's fingers never wants to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rams have disappointed me midway through the season. I'm just covering. I feel like, Matthew Stafford got a little sloppy with the ball midway through the season. So they've given me some angst. I expected better of them considering, but yeah, maybe the Rams for me. All right, next question. Someone in the comments said Bears for the crib. What do you guys think about it?
I wonder where they got that slogan from.
Right?
To be honest, I don't hate it. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears win that one outright. And 6.5, you get it up to +7. I think that's a great bet. But it is the Bears. So let me just say, it is the Bears. There's definitely better bets on the board today.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
You can go
I have them +13 in a teaser in their last game, and it cashed on the last play of the game, garbage time, and that touchdown. That's how bad they are. They could barely cover the +13.
Barely.
What do you like? Pretty clever. What you think? You think Big Dick Nick can do it for him today?
We're gonna see. I mean, it's not a game I'll be betting. I won't be putting my money on it. But the Seahawks just look terrible. I wonder if you want to put any money on.
I want to talk about that last play. You mentioned that garbage touchdown at the end of regulation in that game where the points obviously counted, but there was no extra point attempt because time was up and there was no chance they could win the game. Don't you feel that with the explosion in sports gambling now, it's imperative that they bring the ability for teams to go for 1 and or 2 at the end of a game, even if they can't win the game back? That was one of those ones that cost me. I think I lost that one by half a point, right? Because touchdown was scored, but because time was up, there was 0 attempt for an extra point or a 2-point conversion because it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. However, at the end of, similarly, at the end of halftime, if a score is made with no time on the clock, they will still be able to run an extra point play. Don't you feel that the NFL must bring back the ability for gamblers and gamblers only to have that point attempt at the end of a game, guys?
1,000%. This rule is strictly, it's been put in place. I actually did a lot of research on it because of what happened in that Bears game. Because a lot of people got screwed on that. They lost by that half point. And it happened in a playoff game too, the Minneapolis Miracle. So I went and did some reading on it. It's effectively like the intentional walk rule in baseball, right? Instead of throwing 4 balls, now you just tell the umpire, hey, send that guy to first, and it kind of just speeds up the game. But in this case, that rule is put in place, we know, strictly for Vegas witchcraft. It's just another way that they can screw us. So, yeah, I think it's complete BS, and we need those points back because points matter to some people out there. You even hear Joe Buck saying, oh, man, that's going to screw someone, Well, good to see you guys. Good night. And then we're all, going to punch a wall.
Yeah. Nothing makes losing a bet suck even worse than when Joe Buck one-lines you with a zinger on the way out.
Yeah.
You're infuriating.
Watching Twitter when Joe Buck is announcing any game is pretty much my favorite activity, which is sad, but true. Good to do. Next question. Kyle Pitts, anytime touchdown. This is weird. I just looked this up. Kyle Pitts only has 1 touchdown this season. So I'm very curious what you guys think because they're going against Detroit.
I don't hate that one. I do like, for another tight end in that game, I like Hawkinson anytime touchdown.
He's out. He's not
playing?
No, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, when I looked earlier, there was a line for him on FanDuel, so that's weird.
I love Josh Reynolds. That's my boy. Josh Reynolds for the Lions. That's Jared Goff's boy, and they've connected a few times since he got added to the roster from the Titans. He wasn't really utilized much with the Titans, and now he's with Detroit. But if we're talking about the Falcons here, it's very odd. Yeah, I'm looking at Pro Football Reference right now. 1 touchdown, 14 games. Kyle Pitts.
Kenny, FanDuel's smoking crack. He's out for the season with a broken thumb.
Yeah, I know. Dude, it happened in another game earlier this week where they had player props for a guy who wasn't even playing. And I was wondering because none of my bookie websites had that player. So I was like, oh, that's weird. Why does FanDuel have him? And then 20 minutes before the game, they took him off.
Right.
Weird.
You know what I would do is I would bet it, and then they're going to void your bet, and then you could call your book and complain and say, this is BS, send me free play money. Maybe you can finagle something out of it.
It's a good way to try and finesse the system out of some free money.
Those hacks. Those are those hacks you see on TikTok.
You can tell we're getting late in the season when we're coming up with ways to try to screw the gambling sites out of money as opposed to actually gambling. Well, Here's what we do, guys. We tell them that we didn't understand that PIT stood for Pittsburgh. We thought it was for Philly, and we asked for a refund. This is our plan now. This is our new strategy moving forward. Forget about the stats and the players that are active. Let's come up with ways to get some money back, huh?
Yo, I'm not even kidding. Look, they're in the business of customer service. I have taken an over before that missed, and I called my book and I said I meant to take the under, and they canceled my bet. Like, you're the customer. Obviously, you can only do it to a certain extent, but like, give it a go. They want your business, you know.
Man, and all I do is call Amazon and say it didn't get delivered. Like, what in the world? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, everyone gets one free item from Amazon.
Yeah.
At least one free item. So
Merry Christmas, everyone. Get your free stuff from people that, have too much money to care. One comment from Calvin M says, over under that Kenny is the GOAT.
I'm gonna say the odds are pretty high on that one, I guess. Thanks, Calvin. I appreciate you, brother.
Calvin's got fans.
Is that your brother? Fans. Is that a relative, Kenny?
No, I don't have any relatives or friends named Calvin. But hey, I mean, I went 7-0 yesterday, all on the story, all documented. I mean, show me someone else in this industry who's doing this for a living. I know a lot of people who say they're handicappers that aren't real handicappers. So, I mean, show me someone else.
Look at that glowing skin of Kenny's using that jade roller. Look at that.
You think losers have skin this nice?
Hey, when you go 7-0, you wake up with that glow.
Yeah, a lot of Christmas gifts were paid for yesterday, so a lot of happy texts came my way. So I woke up feeling with a new energy. There's no better feeling than when you wake up to all your clients texting you like you're the GOAT, thank you so much.
Wow.
And obviously you have a bad day, and then they either don't text you or they tell you how much they hate you. But
it's a fickle
Kevin,
game.
what kind of text do you get today?
Verizon telling me I owe them $500 for my bill last month. So.
It is true though.
My girlfriend, she's getting sick of it because anytime someone compliments me now, I make sure I show her because everyone's just so flattering to me when I have a good day. I tell her, you need to start talking to me like this, She got to take notes out there.
That's it.
I love it, dude.
I'm sure if my boyfriend did that, yeah.
The beauty of these shows like this and being able to come on here and give free picks is like, of course, we're trying to make our own money and Kenny's making a living over here doing it. Like, but giving someone else a win, getting a message like that, like I could pay for my Christmas present because of your advice and your suggestions, like that feels way better than any money we'd ever make. So Merry Christmas,
Santa Claus is in the bodies of Kenny Betts Big and Danny Brasco today. And the Grinch is next to me as the degenerate with that beautiful gray sweater.
That's a Grinch smile right there. Look at that Grinch.
I got
grin.
the tags on it. I'll be taking this back after the show today. Don't you worry. I'm coming to you, Nordstrom Rack. Get ready.
Just got a glitter bomb you again.
Doesn't watch this show.
No,
we do.
No, they don't. No, not anymore. They don't.
Round robin, what's the best bet for today? It's got to be the Rams under, right, guys?
It might be, honestly. It might be. So what are they asking? What's the best bet for today? Like a parlay or just a bet in general?
Just the best bet we got. How are we feeling?
Patriots, money line. I said this back in week 1. The Patriots are winning this division. Bill Belichick came into this season, everyone talking about how he was overrated and Tom Brady was the Patriots franchise after Tom Brady won the Super Bowl last year. Bill Belichick is the greatest football coach in NFL history. He is going to shut Josh Allen down today. No question about it.
Oh, I like Josh Allen. It's such a sad thing to hear. And I'm still going with you and the Patriots because it's just the reality that we need to live in. Danny, you got a feel-good bet today?
Why am I feeling the Falcons so heavy? Maybe I'll end up paying for it, but look, I'm not going to put the house on it. It's the Falcons, but I do like them today. This slate is kind of ugly, to be honest. There's a lot of wonky spreads out there and lines that, it's too many points to lay, dogs that you can't really back. So I just have to go against it. I'm just not going to overthink it. Fading Tim Boyle. That's all I'm going to do here. Falcons -6.5. That's my favorite bet.
No faith in Tim Boyle, but perhaps faith in Ian Book, the fourth backup quarterback for the Saints, or Blake Bortles.
If Tim Boyle makes me eat my words, Santa Claus is not real. That's for sure.
Bold call.
Would have been cool if Drew Brees did come back, though. Like, I saw the Saints reached out to Drew Brees. Wouldn't that have been some story? Like, Drew Brees hops off the golf course, comes back week 16, takes him to the Super Bowl, wins it. Like, that would have been a legendary story. Yeah. Look at that guy.
Look at that.
That's that guy. Look at that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. His hair plugs are really working for him, too. Mm-hmm. That's pre-hair plugs. But the new stuff that he's rocking on NBC, it's good stuff.
He looks good. He looks happy. He looks a lot happier holding that club than when he's being chased by 11 guys trying to take his head off. I'll tell you that right now. Much happier there. So, my bet today, as I said, I'll stand by it. Steelers +10.5. Kansas City, I know everyone thinks they're on fire. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I think they're the favorites now again to win the Super Bowl. But I like the coverage today, at least the cover today from Big Ben. And they will win the game. Don't worry, Kansas City. You're going to win the game, but you're going to win it by like 7, 5.5 to 7. So I like Pittsburgh 2.5.
All right.
Well,
there you have it.
Steelers win that outright, to be honest. Wouldn't be surprised.
Kevin, I might have to ride with you. Yeah, that's a shit ton of points with no Travis Kelce, and they're still, they have to win every game for their season to stay alive. So 10.5, like that's compelling. I think I'm going to ride with you. It's too many points.
Mm-hmm. Big Ben had a quarterback sneak last week. He's still sore from it, but hey, if he has to score the only touchdown for his team, he's going for it. He's going to ride this one out until he hangs up those cleats. So I like that one. Either way, let's hang up our cleats here and go watch some football, shall we? Cheers to both of you. Kenny Bets Big, Danny Brasco. Appreciate you. Enjoy and make some money. Kevin.
Talk to you guys later.
Later, Cappers. And now it's just us, Serena. Back to you and I. Our bet slips are officially filled out. We'll see who does better, who does worse. And then we will spend the rest of the week, I'm sure, making fun of each other when we go on the Instagram Live, etc. to his, hers, and of course, bagels and locks, lots of content, new content, exciting, exhilarating stuff from these mugs that you get all the time here with the game day. So thank you for putting up with us. We greatly appreciate you spending some time on your holiday weekend, Christmas. What is that? That's not a red cup. What the hell are you drinking there, Fancy?
You know what? This is a wine glass, and I'm not sure what's in it. But
all right, fair enough. That's how we do around here.
My mother-in-law may think I'm shooting some other video because I basically hid in my room, put some ring lights on and some makeup. Who knows what she thinks I do for a living. Either way, happy holidays.
Stick around for the Serena after show on OnlyFans. It's going to get great in a few moments right there. She's got that water trick. She'll be breaking that down a little bit later on. It's a new type of waterboarding you only get on OnlyFans. So stick around for that.